Welcome to Women of the Wild,
where education and opportunities are key,
and friendships are made to last a lifetime.
Did you get it?
You think we got him? You think we got him? We got him.
All right, Skylar, what do we got here?
We've got a nice looking rip-off.
Oh, there she is. Woo! You dropped our great ghost.
Give me a hug.
Welcome back to Season 2 Women of the Wild podcast. We would like to first start off by thanking our title sponsors for the 2024 year. Atlantic Coral Enterprise, one of the largest import dealers in the world with excellent quality for hides, skulls, shells, and amazing gifts for friends and family or even your household. You can find them at AtlanticCoralEnterprise.com. RM Custom Called, multiple world championships from Main Street to Live Duck. American made, veteran owned. When you want to win on the stage or in the blind, we have you covered. Small shop, big sound. You can find them at rmcustomcall.com or on Instagram. We also have Rhino Land Safaris, providing exceptional quality with unmatched hospitality and cuisine, offering African safaris, a destination hunt for the avid rifle or bow hunter with some of the best trophy management South Africa has to offer. You can find them at rhinoland.co.za or on Facebook, Instagram.
Hey everyone, Andy Lehman here from ACC Crappie Sticks. Just want to let you know about our crappie baits and jig heads. We have a wide selection of the hottest colors and big eye crappie jig heads in the most popular colors and sizes. Check them all out at accrappiesticks.com. Thank you.
Welcome back to Season 2 Women of the Wild podcast. I'm your host, Felicia Marie. I am here for our final segment for our spring 2024 season on the podcast. And we've had an incredible journey throughout this podcast season, and we've had some amazing guests. However, I would love to take a moment to showcase some of our team. And we have some incredible women on staff that are doing amazing things in the outdoors with Women of the Wild, outside of Women of the Wild, and really putting their best foot forward to be the best conservationists that are out there, helping other women, helping youth, helping veterans. Our entire team is built of volunteers, and we all come together to host these events and put all of our social media and our website and everything together in the spare time that we have beyond our jobs, our families, because at the end of the day, a team is built up of a group of women who just have such a passion, and I want you to hear from them where their passion lies here at Women of the Wild and beyond. So first, I am going to introduce one of our staff members who has been with us for quite some time. This is Megan Amershak from Kansas. Megan, how are you?
I'm good, Felicia. How are you?
I'm great. So Megan and I go way back, even, predating Women of the Wild. And we connected through a veteran organization that really started for getting veterans in the outdoors, but focused on the family entity of women and kids. And you have been such a blessing in my life. You're such a positive person, and you've always put your best foot forward. And you're just out there as a mom, just new mama at that. And I would love for you to tell the listeners, who you are, what your role is here with Women of the Wild.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Megan. I was born and raised in the Texas Panhandle. Moved to Kansas when I was 13. Went fishing with my dad for tournaments my whole life. Never got into hunting until I was 21, and I just turned 28. So I've only been doing this 7 years. And as far as like my role for Women of the Wild goes, it's kind of always been my passion to get other girls outdoors and make it a safe place for anybody to feel successful. Like right now, I've been, if anybody follows me, my personal pages, I've been taking some girls out and helping them like get their first turkey. And I'm waiting to see if one of my friends is going to be drawing this year to possibly get her first Kansas whitetail with me. So, but yeah, that's kind of my role.
Yeah, and I think that it's amazing that you do what you do here at Women of the Wild. I mean, you help us with social media, you help PR events, but on top of that, you're doing this outside of Women of the Wild. And I think that that's a really important thing for people to see is we have such a passion that even outside of this in our day jobs and our families, you're out there, you've taken kids out, you've taken other women out, and you do it in your spare time and you have such a love for it. And for someone who has only been doing it for 7 years, girl, you are crushing it. Like you're out there getting big whitetail. You're getting your turkey every year. You're out there duck hunting and goose hunting. And what is like, I feel I already know this answer, but for our listeners, what is one of your like bucket list hunts that you're waiting to do?
So bucket list hunt for me would be axis buck. And high fence, I would do a high fence, but I've heard that the ones in going to Hawaii are the cool hunt to go on. So maybe one day we'll get to do something like that, whether it's a high fence or free range in Hawaii. So, but that would probably be my top bucket list hunt.
Yeah, I saw that one come in. I've had those conversations with your husband before about it, and you and I have talked about it, and it's going to happen. We're going to make that happen for you one day. What is a big tip, trick, or just inspiration that you have that you would like to provide to the listeners? Maybe a girl who isn't in the outdoors yet. What is a big inspiration for you that you could share? A story, a tip, a trick, anything?
So since I've only been doing this 7 years, I would say like the biggest thing getting into this is to not compare yourself to other people. Because when it comes to like, especially like my husband and I, we have ideal, like if we're talking about hunting whitetail, don't compare your first deer to anybody else's first deer or your second deer, etc. down the road, because it all depends on the type of land you got, the management style you have, and other outside environmental factors. And I think that's like the biggest tip and trick or any sort of advice I would give is just don't compare yourself to other people, because just because it may seem like a small thing to you, it could be a big deal to somebody else. Or if it's a big deal to you, maybe it's a small thing for somebody else. So just do what you love and do it well. I mean, that's the best advice I can give.
Yeah, I think that's really solid. If you're out there putting your best foot forward, like you said, demographic, environmental factors are going to change what people are going to be able to do. So I think that that's a really solid piece of information that sometimes we get caught up in social media of what other people are doing and we try to compare. But really, at the end of the day, if we're being each other's cheerleaders, which is what we should be doing. And yeah, I think that's an amazing tip for people to get in the outdoors. And it maybe puts you in a different mindset to lead yourself to success and be inspired by what others are doing instead of, comparing yourself or get jealous. So one of the events that you have been on with us was the Sandhill Crane down in Texas. And I would love for you to kind of give the listeners what it is that Women of the Wild embodies on events like that from your perspective.
So that being my first event for Women of the Wild, it was an amazing experience because we had girls from California, Arizona, up north. I mean, Kansas. I've never seen a sandhill crane in my life. And we got down there and everybody was pitching in to help. We learned I got to show the girls how to breast out geese, how to breast out crane. We talked about gun safety and Taught a lot of things about, having plugs in our gun and what steel shot is. So it was a good experience because there's all sorts of people that are wanting to go on these events that they're nervous to go on because they don't know what to do. And it doesn't matter. Like, you should always come on these events because somebody there is going to have some sort of expertise in some area, whether they know exactly 100% what they're doing or they know fragments of that, and you can learn from that just as well. And then once you go on that trip, then you're going to feel like a little bit of an expert after that too. So I felt like that trip was really good for me because, I've hunted waterfowl and done all that stuff, but I've never hunted sandhill cranes. So I got to learn all sorts of good information about sandhill cranes while I was on that trip too. So just because I have all that experience in the waterfowl area doesn't mean I'm not open to learning new things.
Yeah, absolutely. Megan, appreciate you and everything that you do, and like huge congratulations to little Brigsby because you became a new mom this year and you have been going through so much that like you're just staying active and being a part of the group, and it's amazing to see what you're doing even with a brand new little one. For those who are listening, she's strapped right onto Megan right now as we speak. So I want to give you kudos because you are out there just being an inspiration, especially as a mother, and sharing your journey that you can still get out there and do this, even with a fresh little one. And we just really appreciate you here at Women of the Wild. And you're more than just a teammate. You became family to a lot of us, and you're just a very amazing woman, and super appreciate you.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate all of you and everybody, that even our new people that have jumped on recently for Women of the Wild. It's amazing to meet them, and it's definitely become a family.
Yes. So speaking of family, one of the girls that was on the Sandhill Crane trip with us was Hannah Weingold. Hannah is one of our PRs from the west side of Michigan. Hannah, how are you doing, dear?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited to see all of you on here tonight because our team really is just some incredible women. But I'm going to run that same rundown with you and all of the girls as we talk to tonight. Can you give us a little bit of an intro of who you are, what you're doing, and your involvement with Women of the Wild?
Yeah, so I'm Hannah. I'm currently 25 years old, mother of 2 boys, and I'm very passionate about the outdoors and striving to help and assist with conservation. I currently work for the Michigan DNR as a seasonal non-career wildlife assistant. So I get to get hands-on and go do a lot of habitat work as well as wildlife surveys. Goose banding is probably my favorite thing that we do. I grew up as a deer hunter and fished the piers with my dad, catching salmon and then just bass and things like that. I found Women of the Wild in, I believe it was August of 2021. It might have been 22. It's hard to remember. Time goes by so fast now. I was looking to do a sturgeon trip. I missed out on that, but I got out and learned how to hunt for geese in the field, and it's become one of my new obsessions. Every time I hear a honk, I have to find the geese or the cranes. The cranes I am hoping to get back to this winter, but we'll see how that goes with life and careers and school and everything else. But I really want to again. Caught some sturgeon finally this past August, right before I had baby. Yeah, I've had a lot going on, if we're gonna be honest.
You have. I mean, you're kind of like the wild child of the group, in my opinion. You and I have built like an incredible bond. I consider you a sister, and like we've joked, with your husband that I'm practically your other spouse. That bringing Bo in. I remember you were going on the aoudad hunt, and you were afraid to tell me that you were pregnant because you were afraid I wasn't going to let you go. And I'm like, girl, if you're good with it, I'm good with it. And throughout your pregnancy, you went and killed aoudad. You went turkey hunting, you went salmon fishing, you did walleye fishing, goose hunting, duck hunting, deer hunting. Like, you literally don't stop, and you're so much fun. And for the girls listening to this, if Hannah's your PR, be ready for an amazing time because all of our girls are fantastic, but Hannah's our wild child. And it's just always such a good time. What is like one of your most memorable moments from your 2023-2024 season?
Oh, it's hard to pick one. The Texas Aoudad hunt is going to be sticking with me for a long time. I use that a lot. Like today we were doing some hemlock surveys and tagging trees and looking for invasive aphids and getting them prepped for spraying and all sorts of treatment. And I was climbing up these like super steep hills. I was like, yep, if I can do Texas, I can do this. Quit quit whining about your legs hurting. So that was a big one. And then, oh man, honestly, just getting out every single time. Like it was amazing having you get me, just you and me hunting, getting my turkey, like my first tom, getting that bird, learning from you. And then this year I went out solo. Like I put in the work, I got property, scouted, figured out where those birds were, practiced calling, understanding them, and got my first solo tom. And then went to Indiana and got a second bird. Was holding out for a really good one, but ended up just saying, all right, a bird's a bird, and took a year-old bird. So he wasn't as big as my Michigan one, but it was a good time. So it feels great that taking all of this knowledge that I've been provided just as a client through you, and then as like I call you my mentor. Like I put you on as my reference for almost everything, as my professional mentor. Just guiding me and teaching me and just helping me have that self-confidence to get out there and go. And that's the biggest thing for me, is doing it, getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, definitely am blessed to have met you through Women of the Wild. I'm actually sad that it didn't happen sooner, but I'm so thankful for this company, for us to be able to join hands through it. That first goose hunt when you came out was the first time you and I had met, and it was a hunt where I was a mentor for educating women in waterfowl, and we host them every year, a couple times through, a couple of them throughout waterfowl season. And I've probably somewhat ruined your life with all the ducks and the geese and no, let's just go do it. But I have to say, your turkey hunt last year was probably one of, I mean, aside, obviously the Aoudad was incredible, but your turkey hunt last year was probably one of my favorites. Just because he read every card, was able to help you, and then to see your success this year independently. That is what Women of the Wild is about. That is why we do what we do. And you have had so much growth since you've first started this whole endeavor with us. You've had so much growth, and you have absorbed yourself into the point where you are now a mentor for other women. And to me, that is the most inspiring story of these women who, we have girls on the team that are just incredible mentors, and you have really stepped up and taken that triumph to make sure that you're doing that same and giving back to hundreds of women, I mean, realistically throughout the year. And I just want you to know that I'm super proud of you being a member of our team, and all of our girls who are in here, and they're here because it matters. And I think that each of you have a story that encompasses that. But to me, your start where you were like, I don't know what I'm doing, and now all of a sudden you're a mentor a few years later, that you have grown so much. And we talked about this earlier when I called you at 7:00 this morning, just for me to tell you how proud I am of you. I really wholeheartedly just love to see your success.
Well, it makes me feel really good, and I try really hard, no matter how overwhelmed I make myself, because I'm just going 110 all the time. I try to take that energy and put it into the field and put it into other people. And I'm really happy that I got the opportunity to join the team and get educated and find this whole new different spectrum of hunting and being in the outdoors, because before it was just like, all right, dudes, deer camp, hunting, that's it. But it's this humongous just community and camaraderie that I've really come to love and enjoy. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Always here for all of you. You guys are just, you ladies, not guys, you ladies are just the most incredible women. And I'm honored to have a friendship with each and every one of you. So from all of that, we can sit here and boast each other all day long, because I know we do. Perfect example of being each other's cheerleaders. But what would be one of your big pieces of advice or a story that you want to share with listeners who are maybe wavering of getting into the outdoors?
I would say my biggest advice is if you're scared to do it, do it. If it makes you nervous, if it makes you uncomfortable, you just have to bite the bullet and do it, because the amount of growth and strength that you're going to feel within yourself is going to be a whole new enlightening, personality changing, not dramatically, but you're going to find yourself, whether it be with a group of women, learning a new strategy of hunting or fishing or foraging, just socializing. I've never been a huge social person, but ever since becoming involved in the group, I'm always reaching out. I'm involved in conservation groups, hosting events, trying to plan events to get the community together and learn about the mission. And that would have never been what I would do if not for stepping out of that zone and taking the chance.
Yeah, no, you definitely have opened up a lot, and it continues to grow. And I think that is all the point of like what you're saying is building that community in the outdoors. It's gonna make you break down some walls that you don't even realize needed to be broke down, or like it just kind of happens. You definitely take everything on head first, and you do such an amazing job with the girls, with mentoring, with our social media platforms, with helping with the podcast. I mean, you're all over the place. You put together the newsletter, you spear everything, and you do such a great job. And we here at Women of the Wild could not tell you how much we appreciate you.
Well, I love doing it. I appreciate everyone helping. I love watching us grow.
Share your love of the outdoors with your little ones through the exciting adventures in Dr. Josh Farr's children's books. As an avid sportsman, Dr. Josh Farr has taken his passion for the outdoors and uses his vivid storytelling to teach valuable lessons and appreciation of the world. Learn the alphabet through the ABCs of hunting. Find joy in exploring the outdoors with Let's Go Out and Play and more. You and your child will love learning about nature with Dr. Josh Farr. See all of his books now at drjoshfarr.com. That's DRJOSHFARR.com.
Weeby Knives, a brand of skinning, fleshing, and butchering knives perfect for the hunters, trappers, and fishermen, with a unique high-quality knife for animals of all shapes and sizes. You can find them and more information at weebyknives.com or on Facebook, Instagram. Stonehouse Digital Consulting. Elevate your small business with Stonehouse's expert marketing solutions. Ignite your online presence and thrive with a tailored strategy to drive your growth. You can find them and more information at stonehousedigitalconsulting.com or on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Livingston County Pheasants Forever, Chapter 465, with a mission to conserve pheasant, quail, and other wildlife through habitat improvements, public access, education, and conservation. You can contribute by joining the meetings on the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. at the Howell American Legion Hall on the corner of M59 and Grand River. For more information and to get involved, you can find them at pf465.com or on Facebook, Instagram. Dreamcatcher Charters, a Michigan-based guide service for walleye, sturgeon, and duck hunting, with a passion that drives their success, sharing the phenomenal Michigan waterways with everyone. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram. Feather Moon Outdoors, offering calls made from select materials. Every pot is fine-tuned in the house using the highest quality materials available. Also offering diaphragm, slate, glass, grunt calls, and more. For more information, you can find them at feathermoonoutdoors.com or on Facebook, Instagram. Stay tuned, more podcasts to come. So speaking of growing, the next girl that I would love to introduce is Megan Lockwood. Megan, I know that you're out currently fishing right now, and you are another huge inspiration to our team. You joined our team, and you again are another person that you dive into things head first, and you do such an amazing job. So I would love for you to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your involvement with Women of the Wild.
Okay. Well, my name's Megan Lockwood. I became a part of Women of the Wild through Linda White, basically. She was hosting a trapping education class in Michigan, and I was like, hey, well, I want to help you with that. And like, then she told me about Women of the Wild. I had no clue that we were even a thing before that. And I'm grateful that Linda was part of this group and she's a board member of this group. And I was able to meet everybody, but I'm basically just a self-taught trapper, hunter. I'm out bow fishing right now only because there's nothing else to shoot with your bow currently except for turkey season. And we all know how my turkey season's been. So I'm just sitting in the kayak, but I'm not really a fisherman at all. I trap.
You are an incredible trapper. And I would love for you to tell the listeners, because you've done a lot with education with Women of the Wild, outside of Women of the Wild. And I know that you have a program currently that is about educating women in the outdoors for trapping, for just skills in general, survival skills. And I would love for you to kind of dive into some of that stuff that you're doing and the company that you're doing these trapping events under, with full support from Women of the Wild, because trapping is something that's like a lost trade that a lot of people have put on that back burner, and it's coming to light quick. And I think what you're doing is great.
Definitely. I think trapping needs to be brought to a positive light because for so long, just, media and movies and, they've put it in a negative light. So what Linda White, myself, and another woman named Laura Gidney, we kind of came up with this plan to start hosting women's trap line training classes across the United States. And our main focus has been here in the Midwestern states because I'm here and then Laura and Linda are up in New York. We actually have one this weekend in Auburn, Pennsylvania. And it's a weekend of women who get together and they learn the ins and outs of trapping. So all your laws and regulations for the location where the class is, if you're traveling from afar, as long as the instructors know, they can kind of touch base on a little bit because each one of us trap different states and laws are laws, and we always tell them to look into that. But then we also go into the hands-on of the foothold traps, the dog proof trap, the body gripping traps, what's appropriate sets for what animals. Like we go through the whole thing for handling, start to finish, the whole process. And so we started a company, it's called Women's Trap Line Training. And that's what we host these classes through. And it's a nonprofit. Any money that is brought in from this goes right back into the classes. So we had one in Indiana. There were 11 women there. They all got to go home with a DP trap, a foothold, a body grip. They had lures. They had pliers. They had a beanie that we sewed a fur palm on so they could actually do like fur sewing, with the product of trapping. So we went all out that weekend. They all stayed at an Airbnb. We all stayed together for the whole weekend, and it was a great time. And I've made some lifelong friends. And 2 of those girls actually got scholarships to the FTA's Trappers College in September. So I'm super pumped about that. So that just means like they took away from that class enough to spark that interest to where they wanted to learn more. So that's pretty awesome.
And these women who are getting out there and experiencing trapping for the very first time with you ladies, they're bringing back such an education and inspiring that they're sharing it with other people, and it's putting it, like you said, in that positive light.
Right.
So I have a huge kudos to all of you, because trapping is something that it's very hard to get in-person education on. Like, you can YouTube, everybody loves YouTube Academy, but is it really justifying it when you're not getting that hands-on experience? And you guys are you guys are going through everything, and you're taking them on a trap line, and you're taking them for your, your checks. And like you said, every state has different regulations. Here in Michigan, we have a 24-hour check and trap check, and other states, they don't have those same regulations.
Right.
So teaching stuff like that, but also being aware that if you are traveling from out of state, and being able to get them on, your dog proofs and your body grips. And you guys all kind of have your like specialties. I know you're a big water trapper, and that's something that I pick your brain about, because that's not something like I've even gotten the ability to do. But yeah, I mean, you're doing that in your spare time. You're a mother, you work, you have so much going on, and to find the time, not only with us with Women of the Wild, but with your trapping training, and then everything else you're doing and helping other women. I know you went down to Tennessee and took a girl on a turkey hunt, and you're another embodying focus of like what Women of the Wild is, because beyond just your day-to-day life, this is a passion for you, and inspiring others to get in the outdoors, and specifically women, getting the kids out there. And like, hats off to you, because you're a busy woman, and you just seem to always find the time to be there to assist.
Try.
Well, if it's just trying, you're doing a damn good job.
There's definitely times where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I even doing? We all feel that, because we all do so much, and I truly feel like, we have the best team that we possibly could have. We all hold each other accountable. We all pick up the slack if somebody else can't be around, or, they just need a breather or a break, because we all have personal lives. Like, I truly feel the Women of the Wild team is just an amazing group of women. And, I'm happy to be a part of it, and I do whatever I possibly can. I know I'm absent once in a while. It's just because life gets in the way.
Or you're hunting without service.
That too, or on some kind of stupid adventure. Not stupid, but
they're all worth it.
It's all random, Jonathan could be like, you want to go here tomorrow? And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, let's go. Pack a bag.
Yeah.
Which I'm super excited. Megan, you're a girl that I, again, have an absolute blast with every time we're together.
Oh, heck yeah.
And we have the Illinois bow fishing trip this year. So for our listeners that maybe wanted to get on that trip that didn't, I promise we will have more in the future. But we are going for flying carp bow fishing with Modified Outdoors in Illinois in July. And I am
charter
so
ever.
Yeah, I'm amazing boat captain. First of all,
yeah,
you want to go bow fishing, you need to get with Hunter from Modified Outdoors, because he's an incredible guy. But I've warned him several times. I said, you realize that Megan and I are your PRs, so grab a bag of Depends, because we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yes, we are. It's gonna be so much fun.
So what is a highlight from your 2023-2024 season that you'd like to share with the listeners?
I think one of the best times I had all year, like I did a lot of cool adventures, and I did a lot of cool stuff this year, but I think the best thing was when you invited me on the Nebraska hunt. Like, the hunting was it was good, but the camaraderie and like just the way we get along, and everybody who is involved, and like, I don't know, it was just a really good time. It was probably one of the best times I've had away on a group hunt in a long time.
Yeah, so for our listeners, I had personally won a hunt through Split Reed and Fatty Smoked Meat Sticks, and we went with Lone Prairie to Nebraska, and I had won a trip for myself, and I could bring 3 other people with me, and all I could think about was like, I want girls from my team to come. And I ended up taking my son, Holly, and I, and we had so much fun. Like, literally, even tonight before the podcast, you and I were still kind of making pokes and jabs about it. And this was in November. So if that just goes to show how much this stuff can stick with you and the memories that you make.
Oh,
But yeah,
the friendships.
Megan and I, like our TikTok, was it TikTok? No, they were Snapchats, right?
Snapchats, yeah.
We were making jokes and Snapchats, and when the hunting was slow, we made up for it in laughter. Let me
Oh my
tell you.
goodness. The guides thought we were ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Or even we went out for like an afternoon pheasant hunt, and you and I strapped ourselves to the top of a side by side.
It was safe though. Our
It-
guns weren't loaded.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we didn't have firearms on us on the
No,
rack,
no.
but we were having an absolute blast. And like I said, when the hunting went a little stale on us, we decided to make the best of it. And I think everyone thought we lost our marbles.
Oh yeah. It was the best time though.
And we're gonna have even more
really was.
memories to come. So I'm excited for that.
I know.
So what is an inspirational tip that you could give to our listeners for like a first time female hunter in the outdoors?
Oh, not even just a first time hunter, just somebody who might be interested in it. I talk about this all the time, is if your heart is telling you to do something, or that you're having some kind of interest in doing it, I say go for it, do it, because I personally live for experience, and that's why I'm always on so many adventures, and I get some hate about it, but I don't want to wake up one day and not be able to do something, or hope and dream that I did do that when I was younger or had the opportunity to. With my job, I could fall off a roof and not be ever able to go elk hunting ever again, you know? And so for me, and I really try to instill in everybody, if you're interested in it, find a way to do it. Find a way to either follow someone around and just get that experience if you're not confident enough to do it yourself. But like just do it. That's my biggest thing, is don't live for tomorrow, live for today.
Absolutely.
Like you and
Yeah.
I talk about Africa, that's going to happen one day.
I was
But-
just going to ask what your like bucket list is too. And I had a feeling that's what you would say, and it's happening hell or high water.
Yeah, but there's so many other things that are on that list that probably even top that. Like I don't ever want to sit back and say I couldn't go to Africa because they outlawed it one day.
Right.
Like I want it done in the next 10 years, 5 years, 3 years maybe. But there's other things that I want to knock off the list too, like archery caribou. That's probably my number one.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's a high list, especially with the way the hunting regulations and populations are anymore. That's one
Right.
that like I say all the time, I want to hunt them before we can't anymore.
Yeah. Or,
But you got to tell
Right.
our listeners about what you're going to do in September, because that is one that I'm super like your biggest cheerleader in the corner. I'm over here just rooting you on for this, but what are you going to do in September?
So I am going out to Maine for a bear hunt, but Maine is one of the only states where you can actually trap a bear, and it's a specialized bear trap. It's a cable snare, like a jump snare bear trap. It looks like a DP, but has a snare around it. And so I'm hoping to foot snare a bear and be able to walk up on it and in all its glory. And I'm super, super pumped about that. Bear hunting is probably one of my favorite things, and just the experience, because one day that will not be allowed anymore. And I honor the bear, I eat the bear, I have its fur still, and that's just something I can't wait. And if I get to trap a bear, awesome. And if I get that done, then I can get a second bear as well. There's a plane going over. Sorry about that.
I am so excited for that trip for you.
Oh my
because like you
gosh.
said, it's not something that is potentially going to be here forever. And
No.
to be one of those select few to finally like to get that opportunity that, bear trapping has been outlawed for quite some time. And for our listeners that don't know what a DP is, it's a dog proof. So it's basically well, I'll let you explain it, but a trap that they put their foot in, and this one has a snare attached to it.
Yeah, the snare is around the outside of the can. So the can there's specific dimensions and everything. It's a 12-inch, I believe. Don't quote me on the actual dimensions, but it looks like a coffee can, just elongated. And they have to be buried, so it's flush to the top of the ground, and they bait those. It's just like having a bait site for bears. So they bait them pre-season, and then the bear comes along and wants the snack, and it's just a steel cable snare that jumps up around their paw and holds them till I'm there. It's a 24-hour check. I have to take education course. I've already taken them because I was so excited. Like, I signed up for this hunt, and then that very same weekend I did all the education for it. It was like a bear trapping class, and then like the main hunter's education class. Like, you really have to know the laws and regulations. So I'm super, super pumped. It's going to be a great time, a great guide service. Like, the guys there are pretty awesome. So I'm super excited about it.
I'm going to be your cheerleader the whole time you're there.
Oh yeah, you'll be getting updates like on a daily basis as long as I have cell phone service. But those are my favorite hunts where I don't have cell phone service.
Oh, absolutely. Like Texas and Africa, they're some of my favorites because you're in there and you disconnect from everything. And for listeners who maybe you go sit in a deer stand or you go out waterfowl hunting and you have service, I will tell you that a hunt where you don't have service and you are forced to disconnect, it is an entirely different experience. Like when we're in Africa, I only have service if I'm at the lodge. So if we're out hunting, we're out hunting, and you couldn't make a call if you wanted to.
No.
Same with Texas. When you're in the mountains, you're not getting service. And I love being like we said, we're all so busy, but I love being forced to disconnect because it's so often that I don't, even when I set my phone down, I'm still checking it. I'm still making sure that orders aren't coming in, or I need to respond to somebody or an email. And
yeah, it's nonstop. That's how it is with my business. Like, when I'm in the mountains, like when we were just in Colorado turkey hunting and I didn't have service, just turkey hunting, it was the most relaxing thing ever. And then we would go to town. It's an hour off the mountain, an hour into town, and then 2 hours back in to where we were staying. And we would get to town, and I think I would text you guys like 4 or 5 times, make the phone calls that I needed to, and then I wouldn't even pay attention to my phone. Like, I had service and I wasn't checking Facebook or doing anything like that because I was like, I just need this time away. Like, the mental checkout from just not having phone service is the best.
Yes. And I think a lot of times it's overrated like social media can be overrated. I think that a lot of people don't know how to disconnect. And I would encourage anyone listening, male, female, youth, if you haven't done something for yourself and you haven't disconnected and independently gone out, I would really encourage you to do it. I think that it finds a peace within like your inner strength, that it builds so much character, and you learn so much about yourself and what's around you. Like I actually just had this conversation with a good friend earlier today that like I feel often like I don't have the ability to disconnect, or I'm always, I got 2 kids and I work in healthcare. So I'm always taking care of someone or, distracted by just day-to-day life of taking care of others, that I don't take the time to take care of myself. And that's what those hunts do. Fishing doesn't matter. If you can disconnect and you can find yourself in the outdoors, you're going to learn so much about yourself and everything else around you that is so valuable, and nothing compares to that.
No, not at all.
But
I
in
agree.
lieu of you're one of our you're just like that. I don't even know how to say it. You are that jack of all trades. And I think that's what I admire the most, is because you aren't just like streamline trapping. You're not just streamline like bear hunting. You are out there, like we said, you're out bow fishing right now. You don't stop.
These fish aren't
Again,
doing anything.
no, you are again that Energizer bunny that it just keeps going. I'm not even sure what type of lithium batteries you're using. But my trail cams need whatever battery it is that you have within your soul, because you are a all gas, no brakes, and you teach a ton of educational courses. And now to the final segment to this week's episode of Women of the Wild podcast. We will conclude this segment by thanking our closing sponsors. Stay tuned for more of this week's episode after this short word from our sponsors. Muzzy Pheasant Farms, a mid-Michigan family-owned and operated pheasant game preserve that is open year-round. Muzzy offers educational courses and hunts. They are family-oriented, creating a great opportunity for new and seasoned upland hunters. With no membership required, come hunt with Muzzy Pheasant Farms. You can find more information at muzzypheasantfarms.com or check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Blast and Cast Guide Service is a veteran-owned and operated Michigan-based guide service for the Great Lakes. With decades of experience of fishing and waterfowl, they ensure a safe and enjoyable trip every time. You can check them out at blastandcastguideservice.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Ultimate Veteran Adventures. UVA offers outdoor therapy, recreation, and camaraderie through hunting and fishing adventures around the country for veterans, active duty military, Gold Star families, and first responders. You can find them at ultimateveteranadventures.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Sawmill Creek Bait and Lures, a husband and wife owned and operated company, the home of the C4, one of the best trapping canine lures on the market. You can find them at sawmillcreekbaitandlures.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Wicked 7 Outdoors, a Southwest Texas outfitter guide service with an exceptional care and quality of backcountry mountain hunts for free-range aoudad. Also offering high fence and low fence exotics, come immerse yourself in the outdoor experience. You can find Wicked 7 Outdoors on Facebook and Instagram. Misguided Outdoors is a female-driven Michigan-based guide service offering turkey and waterfowl hunts. Misguided is focused on educating women and youth, providing a hands-on hunt experience for all ages. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. We thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. We have a new team member, Jamie Roberts from Michigan, and that's kind of how, Jamie, you came to us, was through our educational programs. And, you know, over the course of time, it's built up to the point where you joined our staff. So I would love for you to tell our listeners about yourself and your part here in Women of the Wild.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie. I am probably one of the newest members of Women of the Wild. I think I've only been a staff member for 2 or 3 months now. But as Felicia mentioned, I kind of started with this group doing actually, I believe, a trapping educational course with Megan and fell in love with it. I kind of continued that passion myself. I currently still trap and use the tips and tricks that she taught me. I also know Cassidy through working with the Midland Conservation District. So she kind of also wrote me in and thought I would be a good fit. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that you are a great fit, and I think that you bring so much to the table. I love that our team members are connected in some way to another team member, because like when Megan came to us, Linda White and her were really close. They own these companies together and, you know, teach each other things. And then they kind of joined as a board member. And then you have kind of the, you know, the best of both worlds, where you got to meet Megan, you got to meet Linda, you got to be educated with them, and you're implementing that in your trapping life now. And then you have Cass, which is one of our board members, who is also someone that you're close with, that kind of reeled you into us. And I'm super thankful of that, because you are a very inspiring woman in the outdoors, and you bring a lot to the table too. And not just hunting and fishing, because you're out there with your horses and you have your dogs, and there's like this whole dynamic that our team likes, to embody is just a female who loves the outdoors for whatever it's worth. It doesn't matter if it's gardening, if it's hunting, if it's fishing, if it's canning, trapping, foraging. Like, our team is so well rounded and so supportive of one another. I would love for you to tell maybe a memorable moment from your 2023-2024 season to our listeners.
Yeah, well, you kind of mentioned my dog, Timber. He's my pride and joy. He's my baby. I, by no means, am a professional dog trainer, but I got him as a puppy, and he's an English Springer Spaniel. He'll be 3 years old, actually, May 31st. I kind of just embodied having the dog and wanting to provide kind of what he needed and his lifestyle. You know, he was born to be a bird dog, and he kind of ignited that passion and pheasant hunting with me. It's my favorite thing to do now because I get to do it with him. And probably one of my favorite moments this season was taking him out on one of our last hunts of the pheasant season and just watching him do an absolutely perfect retrieve through the water, jumped over branches and went into the woods and found that bird and brought it back to me. It brought tears to my eyes.
We're watching a working dog. I really don't think there's much better than that. And it's funny because our entire staff are like huge dog people. But you have a working dog that you have worked with to the point where now he's very sufficient in the outdoors. And I love seeing the photos that you post of him. Such a beautiful dog. But that to me is like, it not only getting out there with women, but putting that effort into just being in the outdoors with that working dog and getting yourself to a point where you are proficient enough to educate others. And I know we've talked about various, online courses and things like that, but I really hope to see some of that type of training in the future once you feel that you and Timber are there. Because I think that, we just had a podcast that aired this month for Austin Collins, who has a working dog, Birdie, down in Texas, and she travels all over the United States with her dog. And I love seeing that journey of a woman and how inspiring that is, because you don't see it often. And I think it's fantastic that you're doing this with Timber. And I think that it's even better that you share it with others to inspire other women to get their companion in the outdoors with them.
Yeah, it's definitely been igniting a passion in me just watching him grow, and it's just also helped me grow too. So I would definitely recommend, if you have a dog, even if it's not quote unquote a bird dog or a working dog. I mean, any dog can do anything, just like any woman can do anything. So just getting out there with your best friend is magical.
Absolutely. And you've actually been able to PR a couple of events with us. I know you've done the pheasant. You have gone out and you've helped quite a bit already, even just with the few months that you've been a part of our staff. Is there a Women of the Wild event that like stands out to you that's been one of your favorites to be a part of so far?
I would say so far, probably the walleye trip that was my first trip that I PR'd by myself. Just kind of being the one to mentor the women and help them and watch them get excited. That trip, unfortunately, we had some bad weather that day and we weren't as successful as we hoped, but just watching the women persevere and just enjoy being in outdoors. It wasn't about the catch or limiting out. It was just about being together and having a good time. So that was a really special one.
Yeah. And you did an amazing job. We got fantastic feedback from it. So with being such a new member, I'm so excited to see where you flourish and grow through all of this. And being able to grow to the point where you're mentoring other people is such an inspiring thing to get more women involved in the outdoors. We, take youth out, and it's just so exciting. And I can't wait to see where you grow with us, because you're a fantastic woman. And it's so fun to watch you and these other women on our staff grow. And ladies, like all of you, every single one of you are so important to us. A lot of times people don't see us behind the scenes, but we talk literally every single day through the good stuff, the bad stuff. Like, we really are a family here at Women of the Wild and are the biggest supporters of each other, but also other women. We don't have a single girl on the staff that doesn't support women in the outdoors, that doesn't do this on a day-to-day in their life. And have a want and desire to help spread education. And I am so proud of our team. I think we have some of the most amazing women out there, and wholeheartedly, genuinely just want to see others succeed. So to our entire team, I want to say thank you, because Women of the Wild would not be what it is without each and every one of you. And you all play such an important role in what we are and what we do, whether it's online education, whether it's in-person education, whether it's supporting our female veterans, our youth, or just PRing these events. Each of you matter, and every time that you step foot into a field or into a boat or any of these events, a classroom, you're making a massive wake in the outdoors, and you're all spreading so much education to women. Ladies, I just want to say that our 2024 season for this podcast has been an absolute blessing to connect with so many women. We have our calendars and our cookbooks again coming out for our 3rd annual, that we want to share these women, and we want to share our team. We want to share these women who are out there getting in the outdoors and being avid sportsmen, and sharing these recipes to maybe inspire you to cook something that you haven't yet. I know, Hannah, you shared some super awesome recipes last year for the cookbook, and I can't wait to see what everybody has for this year for the cookbook. But I just want all of you to know how important you are, and we wouldn't be what we are without all of you. Well, ladies, we are coming up to the end of the podcast, and I am so excited that the 2024 season has gone the way that it has. We have so many events coming up for the summer that we have decided to take a 3-month break. So this is our final podcast for this spring season, and we are taking June, July, and August off, but we will be back with more podcasts in September with some fantastic sponsors, with those cookbook and calendar submissions. And we have so much to come for the 2025 year when we come back in the fall, that if you haven't heard from us, we would love for you to send us an email at womenofthewildoutdoors@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. We want to be inspired by you. So if you think that you have a story or a mission or something inspirational or educational that you'd like to share, please send us a message, come on a podcast. Let's get another year in the books with you amazing women. And I want to say a personal thank you to our team, to our listeners, to the girls that come out on events with us. And for those who are still wavering getting in the outdoors, please just come out. We'd love to have you. We'll see you in the field.